Hey guys, and just like that, summer has kicked off to an amazing July. One that I probably didn't really fully expect was going to be so loaded onto July. I thought it was going to be a little bit more spread out, but it has been a great month for the movies. If you haven't been out seeing any, um, this one should be on the absolute top of your list. War for the Planet of the Apes. It is the third in the reboots, I guess, or reboot prequel movies to the Planet of the Apes films. If you have not seen the previous two films here, please go see those first. Rise and Dawn, both outstanding movies. Go check those ones out first before you jump into this one. This one does cover a lot of topics and a lot of grounds that are covered in the first two films. This one was directed by Matt Reeves. I'm just going to stop for a second and say that this guy is an incredibly underrated director, somebody that probably deserves more of your attention. If you have not seen Let Me In, please go check that movie out. That was a movie that should have been awful on paper. It was a remake of a foreign film that was only a couple years old. That was already a masterpiece. And oddly enough, I think Matt Reeves actually did a better job with that movie. If you have not seen that, please go check that one out. That one is outstanding. Matt Reeves at this point in his career, in my opinion, I don't think he's failed. I think he's made an awesome movie every single time. But back to War for the Planet of the Apes. It's starring Andy Serkis, again the motion cap guru, and Woody Harrelson. Um, yeah, let's kind of just jump right into what makes this so great, and keep in mind that each one of these movies has just gotten better. I thought the first one, which is Rise, of the Planet of Apes was pretty good. It had its moments. I'm not a James Franco fan, so he wasn't my favorite part of that movie, but it was a good place to start and had some good impactful moments. The second one just kind of gets into it a little bit better, and oddly enough, here we are, the third in a movie where it should be getting worse. It is absolutely getting better, and for all the right reasons. This is one of the first movies in a long time that I was watching and actually started to forget that I was even watching CGI. Now, I've talked about this with some of my friends in the past before, but I feel like sometimes I'm watching a movie and something will happen, some kind of visual snafu will take place, and I can tell that I'm watching CGI. It kind of takes me out of the element, and especially this where there is so many CGI apes, kind of in large groups. You're usually going to see some of those kind of weird moments take place, but there was at no point in this movie did I feel like I was watching CGI anymore, which is weird when you think you're watching a movie about a bunch of talking, walking apes. But this movie gets you so into it, you kind of get lost into it. And the acting, there is so much done visually to faces. In fact, there's not even that much dialogue in this movie. So much is done with just expressions on apes' faces. That goes so far. You really get invested into those characters just by looking at their facial reactions, which kind of takes me into a little bit onto some of the storyline here. If you were going into this expecting a massive action blockbuster film, this is probably not going to be it. At least the title would lead you to believe it is a war movie, and the advertisements show these big action set pieces. To be honest with you, the action kind of takes place at the beginning and at the end. So much of that middle part is so much more internal than it is external fighting. And I know that might sound like a bad thing, but to me, it's way more impactful to take a movie like this, again, with so much CGI, with apes, and giving them so much grounded reality was a perfect touch to this movie. And something that I feel like you were going to need eventually in this series, and I think it comes at a perfect time. You get this perfect arc from the first film to the third film, and instead of it just being about, decimating everything in these big action set pieces, is about spending a little bit more time dealing with the horrors that are kind of taking place in front of everybody and around everybody. And I think that was a great choice. Somebody described it as more of a Schindler's List with apes. And I thought that was a weird description going into it. When I walked out of that, I was like, okay, I could see where it's closer to a prison crime drama almost than it is to some big action set pieces. So if you were looking for that, I don't think this is a bad one. It just might not live up to exactly what you're expecting when you get in there. So if I'm going to criticize anything in the movie, if there's anything that I would think is a little bit of a drawback, that would be with the Colonel, played by Woody Harrelson. His character is relatively one note. I don't think they actually give him a good opportunity to really show the full breadth of what type of character he is, which is kind of unfortunate because that's always been a little bit of a downfall of all three of these films. You end up caring more about the apes and less about the humans. So you could maybe look at this and say, well, there's less humans in there, there's less time dealing with them. Yes, but I think you've actually had an opportunity here that's a little bit missed with the Colonel. I think that he's expressing things and pushing things across that are interesting and might deserve a little bit more delving into and why he is doing what he's doing and acting the way that he's doing. But it kind of gives you a little bit of just a one note with him. And that's a bit of a bummer for me. I think they could have done a little bit more on that front. I've also got to say that I've got a little bit, just a slight issue with just the amount of tie-ins to the original Planet of the Apes films. I feel like it's unnecessary, and I know these are a prequel style movie going into them, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think it's okay to have these movies kind of stand alone and not have to worry about what they eventually connect to, where I would think actually most of your audience, that myself included, I care more about these than I do about the original films. And these are the things that I'm kind of getting more invested in and attached to. And sometimes it's just a little on the nose, kind of letting you know that, hey, this is a Planet of the Apes thing we're talking about. It's just a little overdone at some points, but it's really minor. Those are super minor gripes. So yeah, jumping back to at the beginning of the year, I had a list of my top 5 anticipated movies of the years. War for the Planet of the Apes made it on that list, and that was, at the time, just a brief teaser trailer was shown. I really didn't have much to expect going into it, other than I thought the latest Planet of the Apes movie was awesome, so I was looking forward to it, and I would say that this one absolutely exceeds my anticipation for it back in January. I think it was an absolutely outstanding film, very close to just a perfect film for me, the perfect type of movie that I want to be watching here in the summer, enough to keep me invested and a little bit more meat to chew on than just kind of your big action set pieces. So right now, I know there's still a lot of year left, but this is up there as one of my top movies of 2017. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend this. I would put all recommendation for this movie. So if you have not seen that, please go see it in theaters. It's a beautiful film to watch. It's a beautiful film to watch on a big screen. So go out there and see it. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about it. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.